100. Smile, girl, smile. Smile for me.
Chronics, we are beaming sunshine and love to our Grace Kennedy family all across the world, here at home and abroad, from our hearts to yours, with a big, broad smile, because indeed it is a day to be happy. Happy, happy, happy. Today, before heading into our annual GK business conference with a couple of hundred members of the GK team, we have our entire GK family across the world with us this morning to share in this very special day, very special occasion, the kickoff of the biggest milestone yet for Grace Kennedy, our 100-year anniversary, 100 years of doing business with honesty, integrity, and trust as our guiding principles. And we welcome you wherever you are in the world this morning. I see the Zoom wall. Can I get a wave? Can I get a wave? Can I get a wave? Can I have a wave? Nice to see everybody this morning. I hope you guys are how are you doing? Thumbs up? Everybody's good? Fantastic. I see people taking pictures. This is cool. Danielle, look at all my friends. Good to see you. So what an amazing story this has been, ladies and gentlemen, of love, of persistence, of resilience, of inspiration, of trials, and of triumph. It is a story that has mirrored the stories of the lives of those who work here and have worked here, and indeed the lives of those served so very successfully by every single subsidiary of this company across the world. A very, very exciting time indeed. A great story thus far, but the rest, of course, is still unwritten. And so today, we celebrate the past with GK, what has gone, and we look ahead to reshaping the future. One thing that has served us well in the last 2 years is gratitude and an appreciation for all things and even people we used to take for granted, right? We've learned how precious life is and how special relationships are and how much we should treasure the ones we love at home, at work, in our immediate and extended families, because no man is an island, right? We're working together, we achieve together, we play together, and we grieve together, because that is what family does. And so this morning, we all give thanks for being here for one more day. In a brand new year, optimistic, celebrating what has been and what is to come for GK. And as we do that, we pause to celebrate the life of a man who gave so much of his life to Grace Kennedy. If you didn't know him, you knew of him because he was a GK legend. On Tuesday, January 4, we lost an amazing GK giant in the person of James, Jimmy Moss-Solomon. I called him Sir Moss because he simply commanded that respect, but that is just about where the formality ended. He was a passionate man, passionate about GK, about the communities he served. He was always there, always willing to check in, to guide, and to mentor anyone who needed his help, even when you didn't know. That was Sir Moss. And he was about actualizing potential. And if he could do that, then that was music to his soul. And speaking of music, his musical prowess was superb, his storytelling genius, and often side-splittingly funny, and his empathy was enviable. And boy, was he committed to his island home, Jamaica. So very excited to share in GK's 100th anniversary celebrations he was, even being instrumental in its planning. He is no longer here, but his spirit and his energy will live on in this company for as long as it is around. And we are now even more committed than ever to ensuring that this 100th celebration is one that Sir Moss would have been proud of. We miss him already, but we are comforted by the fact that he lived his life with purpose, and he walked in that purpose with a very generous spirit. And having said that, I now invite us all to observe a moment of silence in honor of our beloved Jimmy Moss-Solomon. May his soul rest in peace and light perpetual shine on him. At the end of our GK launch this morning, we're going to share a special tribute for Mr. Moss. And so we invite you to stay tuned for that. And now, we acknowledge the goodness and grace of our creator on this company by inviting Luis Ugarte, who is a customer service and sales manager with GK Belize, to deliver a word of prayer for this morning's proceedings.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, our hearts are overflowing with gratitude, and we thank you for this day. We thank you for bringing us into this new year, 2022, as we celebrate the 100th anniversary of Grace Kennedy and the journey that started so many years ago, so many plans ago, and so many dreams ago. We give thanks to those who have paved the way for us, those who have helped us to shape the company, those who have left us, and those who are still standing strong with us today. Lord, make us dream not only for our personal career gains, but also for a strong, tightly bound, and a progressive Grace Kennedy family. Help us to remember the three pillars by which we stand by: honesty, integrity, and trust. Gracious God, as we celebrate our past and rejoice in our present, we also look forward with eager eyes to the future. We pray that you would continue to make your love known amongst us. Give us continued passion as demonstrated in our words and deeds that we care. Today, we not only celebrate our 100th anniversary, but we thank you, dear Lord, for blessing us. We acknowledge that there have been and will continue to be struggles and challenges. But we ask that you continue to be our anchor, our leader, and our protector. Thank you for being with us in good times and in not so good times. We ask that you would continue to protect us, guide us, and sustain us as we go forward from this 100th anniversary launch. Finally, we also ask for your special blessings on our 2022 business conference. And we ask for guidance and protection for the company's leadership team and the entire Grace Kennedy family. All glory and honor to you, Heavenly Father. Amen.
All right. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Luis, from your lips to God's ears. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this time of COVID, we have to talk with Tonwe Hana fashion. That's what we say in Jamaica. Really a saying that says you kind of use what you have at the time to make the best of what is not so great an ideal situation. So in this ongoing pandemic, we are doing this the best way we know how. And so here we are virtually experiencing the launch of something huge, GK100, 100 years of growth and innovation, 100 years of serving customers and consumers at the highest standard, 100 years of giving back, and 100 years of showing our GK family that we care. 100 years not out. I think that deserves a round of applause. Zoom on, everybody watching. It's a very big deal. So picture yourself right now on the beautiful Kingston waterfront, and as we look across downtown Jamaica, we recall this company which started with one building across the street, right? Which has now expanded and diversified over the last 100 years into one of the largest and most dynamic corporate entities in Jamaica and the region, with eyes on building out this business across the world. The journey continues to global status, and we are proud of that. It's a very big deal and a very big reason to celebrate. On February 14, as we celebrate love, the brand that we have all known and loved for a lifetime will mark its 100th anniversary. And over that century, perhaps no other company has played such a prominent role in the lives of Jamaicans, whether it be in our kitchens, shelves, sending money to loved ones across the miles, or by helping to protect the things we value the most. GK has been there for Jamaica and its customers across the globe every single step of the way. And so we celebrate the GK story today because it's one that is intricately intertwined with the story of those whom we serve. It's a story we're telling and celebrating, one that will continue for decades to come. And it's not just a story of how a small Jamaican company became a global consumer group or a journey to becoming that. It is a story of our team, past and present, our business partners, our shareholders, and our customers and stakeholders who have gotten us this far. And so to kick things off, we're going to hear a few stories from some familiar faces of our GK family.
My earliest memory of Grace Kennedy was actually walking through the supermarket with my grandma and my mother. I remember the Grace Ketchup, and in those days there was a song by I think Yellow Man, you know, Grace Jamaican Ketchup.
My memory of Grace was about 2 ads.
They were really impactful and catchy.
Grace Tomato Ketchup, I mean, every child grew up on that.
When watching JBC News and watch the blue Vienna Monster eat all the sausages. My name is Andrew Masado. I'm the Group Chief Financial Officer for Grace Kennedy Limited, working with finance.
Frank James, CEO, GK Foods Domestic.
Grace Burnett. I am the President and CEO of Grace Kennedy Money Services and the CEO of Grace Kennedy Financial Group.
I'm Andrea Coy. I'm CEO of Grace Foods International.
Don Webby, Group CEO, Grace Kennedy Limited. GK's story is a very interesting one. We are incorporated February 14, 1922. So this makes 2022 a very, very special year for us, our anniversary. From a youngster, I was very interested in business. That is one of the reasons I was really attracted to work at Grace Kennedy. I basically surpassed my expectations because of the hard work. And I'm now the group CEO, not only the CFO. I became CEO July 1st, 2011. When I went in, I created my own vision for the Grace Kennedy Group. I'm raising the bar of where Grace Kennedy is going to be. We're going to be a global consumer group.
I met Don. I think I really got caught in his vision for the financial group, and I started to do more research, and I really got pulled into the vision of being able to explore different things, being a part of change, helping to develop this financial group when Grace was really only known for foods.
As CEO of Grace Foods International, I'm responsible for all the businesses outside of Jamaica, but I'm also responsible for the global marketing. People grow up on Grace, right? They trust us. We are true to what we say we are. We believe in quality. We believe in fairness. When you buy a Grace product, you know you're getting the best. All over the world, and it's amazing that people are so aware of the brand and what we do and who we are.
Grace Kennedy was actually one of my first summer jobs. So I actually worked in the finance department. Hard work is definitely a part of the DNA at Grace Kennedy, so that didn't change.
I remember looking at the company's first financial statements back in 1922 and seeing that they had sales of £15,000 and a profit of £800. Now we have a revenue of over 115 billion and profits of 6.8 billion. When I was looking for a job and looking around, I saw Grace Kennedy in many different aspects other than foods. That was one of the things that encouraged me to join because I realized it was a large company with lots of opportunities available.
I started to work at Grace Kennedy October 1st, 1995 as finance manager. The core values of Grace Kennedy resonated with me: honesty, integrity, and trust. But more important in my mind was we care. We care about our employees, we care about our customers, we care about our community. The decision was very easy after that, and here I am today as the group CEO.
I think a year I joined, we actually celebrated the 80th, and the passion and the fervor and how they spoke about Grace Kennedy, I just realized that I was just really part of something special. That's when I realized that I'd actually made the best decision of my life.
We've been taught to live our values.
I took over the role of CEO for Foods Domestic in 2019. Really very excited about taking on this new challenge and this new role. And here comes the pandemic. The first thing we said is, how are we going to protect our people?
2016, I was appointed the head of the financial group. So mine was the opportunity to bring it together as a unified group, something which I've enjoyed doing. And in 2019, I was asked to become president and CEO of the Money Services division, which by the way, makes most of the profits in Grace Kennedy. It really has shown the capacity that I have and also the strength of the team. The truth is, the higher you go, it's less about yourself, but you accomplish through people.
It's not just about how to make money, but it's about how you serve your community. And Grace Kennedy has been very big on that. So, we have two foundations, the Grace and Staff Community Development Foundation, which supports a lot of education, and also our GK Foundation, which focuses on education as well as the environment.
The message there, and I'm speaking to my team, believe in yourself, believe in your vision, work hard, be focused, have around you, and it can be done. When I'm in the USA market and you walk into a Walmart and you see an 8-foot shelf of Grace Kennedy products, and I see not only Caribbean nationals picking it up, but Americans, Hispanics picking it up. And I said, Don, you're not there yet, but your journey has begun in terms of being this global consumer group. It's a proud moment for me and for the Grace Kennedy team, but not only for that, for Jamaicans. When they can look in the supermarkets, the Walmart, the Publix, the ShopRites, and say Jamaica, because that's how they view it. They don't say Grace Kennedy, they say Jamaica in these large chains, and it is really, really a proud feeling. I want to leave Grace Kennedy with a better Jamaica in place. What is good for Jamaica is good for Grace Kennedy. Why we're 100 years old is because of our core values: honesty, integrity, and trust. And the big umbrella for that is that we care.
Well said, executives. Great set of executives leading this team, and brilliantly buttoned up, Mr. Webby. Honesty, integrity, trust, and the umbrella that we care. That's what's going to take Grace Kennedy into the next 100, having guided along the path to this first 100 years. So, what is planned for this year? What's going to be happening? Who better to tell us than the head of corporate communications and chair of GK's 100 Planning Committee, or the GK100 Planning Committee, Suzanne Stanley. She's going to share a little bit about what's been happening behind the scenes, because a lot has been happening behind the scenes. Hello, Suzanne.
Hey, Simone.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thank you.
Here we are. I mean, I've heard GK100 over and over for years because of my association with this company, but it's finally here. So tell us a little bit about what has gone into the planning process for this huge year.
Sure. So, as you had said, we've been in discussions about this for several years. We knew this was coming, and now it's finally here. We kicked things off in 2020. So this was very soon after I joined GK with a working group. And that working group, we came together, there were discussions, ideas were thrown around, and we kind of conceptualized some of the things that we would love to see happen this year. We then moved on to having a core planning committee, right? So to execute the activities. And I do want to take this opportunity to really just big up the hard-working planning committee that have, pulled this all together and are making it all possible. And I'm going to call them by name. Yeah. So, and I have it written down. So, Go
ahead, girl.
Okay. So Brian Mitchell, Glenise Durant Freckleton, Alison Mace, Tara J. Bowen, Dave DaCosta, Gary Dixon, Vinette Rowe, Adam Jones, Kadeen De Silva, Krista Goldborn, and we also had Diane Robinson on the committee before she retired, and Veronica Wallace as well, who is actually away at school for the moment, but still very much a part of our GK family. And we also have some external team members who have come in, so we still consider them a part of the team. Tamai Clark, the team at the lab, led by Kimberly Adamson, and the Prescient team, Rochelle Cameron, Keisha Bryan, and Gian Dwyer. So we have quite a few people involved in this celebration.
Yeah.
And what we've been doing over the past, few months, it's now a year, because it was January 2021 that the committee came together, is we've been gathering ideas from the team members, from our GK family really, because we would have reached out to, our founding families, former directors, and we came up with a detailed communications plan that has really been guiding our planning, and of course will guide the events
The history of this company is so storied. There's so many different layers and aspects and legs. And I mean, what are some of the key considerations that would have gone into pulling it all together?
Yeah, so obviously there's a myriad of things that we would have been considering, but there's some key things. We want to make sure that in our celebrations, we will really pay tribute to our GK story. So our story is your story, it's hence the theme. But not just our past. So not just our rich history and our business successes, but also the vision that we have for the future of our company. And of course, everything grounded in our core values, honesty, integrity, trust, and the umbrella of we care.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a key consideration. We also want to consider, well, how do we get our family involved? So not just our GK team members, but also our external stakeholders, our customers, our consumers, our shareholders, so they're Jamaica, the communities we serve around the world. We want to make sure it's inclusive activities that are happening and taking place. We, of course, considered who we should partner with as well to execute. And, we have some, great team members on board and, external support as well. And, of course, the times we're living in.
Yeah.
COVID-19. Yeah. So we really have to keep a very close eye on the pandemic. When we started our planning last year, we really hoped that we were going to be able to do things like, for example, this launch as an in-person event. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case yet. So we're keeping an eye on things and just hoping that maybe towards the end of this year, we'll be able to gather and, celebrate together face to face.
Yeah.
So those are the key things that we really were thinking.
Got it. Well, we know whatever happens, GK will do it well. As we said, 100 years, nothing to sneeze at, guys. So here again are the GK execs sharing the significance of that celebration to the company.
100 years is a long time.
100 years.
This has been a long journey.
There are not many companies in Jamaica that get to 100 years old.
A big deal for us as employees. It's a big deal for Jamaica because Grace Kennedy represents Jamaica.
We're talking about a company that created a clear vision about being a global consumer group.
Our foundations and the seriousness with which we take corporate social responsibility has led to thousands and thousands of students who wouldn't have had the opportunity going on to having successful careers and making a meaningful impact.
One of the goals that our CEO had was to double the number of students we serve. And then of course we also service our communities through the environment.
Every year for those 1,000 children, I go through their results, university results, and their CAPE results, line by line, line by line. And let me tell you something, I presented checks because I want to demonstrate to them that hard work is rewarding.
We are well-rounded in terms of how we look at our people. So it's not just about what do you bring to the business in terms of the numbers, what are you delivering for us today, but it's more than that. We encourage our team members to be part of giving back to the community. We encourage our team members to be their best selves every day, whatever that means for them.
The employee engagement score for Grace Kennedy was 71%. The 65%, that's the landmark. So we were way over the best in terms of employee engagement.
Not long after joining Grace Kennedy, it was just a little over a year, our former chairman and CEO Douglas Arain asked me to represent him. His presentation tended to be about the history and giving people an appreciation. So it forced me to actually go and read the history of Grace Kennedy. And we have this book, and I'd really encourage all our team members to really take the time to. And it's really a rich history.
So anybody want the secret formula? Once you have an engaged team and they are very focused and dedicated and they have this great spirit and this never say die and the winning attitude, profits will come. So don't put profits before. Put your employees in the front and then the profits will come. And I can tell you, I can guarantee that.
The motto for Grace Kennedy is Grace We Care. Not Grace We Care exclusively for one set of persons, but it's Grace We Care for all that we interact with.
Living our corporate values is non-negotiable. And as leaders, we set the example. And we continue to make sure that we reinforce and guide with the team how important that is. And we not just say it, we live it, we demonstrate it.
That has always helped us to see beyond just dollars and cents.
I mean, Jamaica is a country that can be proud of so many things. We have many examples of persons who have gone overseas and become global stars. You know, athletes, musicians usually. But this is a business that has gone overseas and, you know, found its place, because it shows that in any sphere that we choose, not just music, not just track and field, maybe some footballers, but in business, we actually can stand with the best.
And people associate brand Jamaica with brand Grace Kennedy.
This company started as a company that put on its balance sheet a dray and mule. And to see where the company has reached 100 years later, with billions in assets, a highly profitable entity, serving both Jamaicans and people from every background and culture across the world, it's something that every Jamaican, I think, should be proud of.
A small Jamaican trading company has grown into a global consumer group. Grace Kennedy is celebrating its 100th year of existence, and Jamaica is celebrating its 60th year of independence.
We're going to be celebrating big across all areas of the business. A key element is that we're going to be branding a number of our special products with the GK100 logo. So what we really stand for, which is our quality food products, will identify with this 100 years of providing, you know, quality food to Jamaicans and really feeding the nation.
Every single subsidiary has planned initiatives around, some of them, you know, scholarships for 100 staff members, 100 customers, just playing on 100 in many ways.
We're going to be engaging the diaspora across the world, because we recognize that, you know, without their support, we would not have achieved what we've achieved on the international stage.
So we're going to be having a special national promotion to really build on that and really to work and celebrate with our customers and involve them.
We also plan to involve our retirees in various activities as well.
So beyond the cake cutting, it's really and truly doing what we do best, which is really giving back to our teams, giving back to our customers, and giving back to our communities.
If we continue as we have been, continuing to live how our forefathers envisioned the company would be, who would be to the communities, to our team members, all our stakeholders, we're definitely going to celebrate another 100 years. It's really, really exciting.
Because it's in our DNA, I will retire and somebody else will take over. But what will not change in Grace Kennedy, regardless of how large we are all over the world, in every supermarket, what will never change is what is in your DNA, because it's in your DNA. Honesty, integrity, trust, and we care.
Successful ingredients for GK's growth. So, sneak peek there from some of the executives as to what will be happening. Suzanne, can you tell us in a little more detail what we will see happening this year in terms of some of the activities?
Sure. So there'll be activities spread throughout the year. You know, it's a big event, so it's a year-long calendar of celebrations. And as Frank had mentioned, you know, we're going to see GK100 being reflected across our brands. We're painting the town red, figuratively speaking.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So to speak, right?
Literally too, because we see murals and things.
There's some surprises that, you know, we do have in store. So I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
We'll be starting off as we should, with our service of Thanksgiving on February 13th. It's going to be a virtual event, so you know our GK team should look out for that. The cake cutting, you know, I heard Grace mention the cake on February 14th will be something special. We're going to try to make well, the HR teams have committed to making sure that every GK team member enjoys a sweet treat on that day. But the celebration, the activities, the event on that day will be live streamed to the entire GK family. So we're looking forward to that. And there will be something special on that day. Fantastic. I don't want to give away too much. We have, of course, our social media campaign for GK100. That's also something to look out for. Our corporate social responsibility. So our activities are going to be happening under our broad theme of 100 acts of grace. So, you know, a
Nice.
big part of GK100 is not just celebrating and having a party. There will be a party, but you know, not just celebrating and having a party, but also, you know, we are giving back. You know, we are giving a gift on our own birthday, right? So that's going to be a major part of what we're doing this year. So there's a lot in store. It's just the tip of the iceberg that I've mentioned.
You have an internal campaign too for the GK team to tell you about their GK story.
Yes, yes. So this morning we've been hearing the GK story of some of our execs, but next week we are going to be launching My GK Story, which is a competition amongst our GK team members, and that, you know, so everybody get your creative juices flowing because there's going to be various ways to participate in that. So song, spoken word, poetry, art, so visual art. There's a wide range of ways that you can tell your GK story, and so we're really looking forward to hearing from our team.
That sounds exciting. Is that open to people who used to work at GK?
We'll talk after.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like a no. It's all good. All right, so thank you very much, Suzanne. GK, making it to 100, could not have done it without the engine of the company, and that's the amazing team members across the world. The GK execs had something they wanted to share with you.
I thought about what I'm looking forward to most for GK100, and it's really to say to the nation, to the shareholders, to our dedicated and committed and loyal staff, as the group CEO, to say to them, thank you. To the founding family members, to say to them, thank you.
For me, it's just being there with the team. It's just being there with my GK family.
That interaction with our team to really share the joy of reaching 100 years.
I'm looking forward to the diaspora events.
This year, I think, is going to be really special. I think it's important that we take time to celebrate what has been achieved and continuing to contribute to the nation.
To share the memories and just to share the thoughts about what we're going to do next.
This is a real celebration, not only for Grace Kennedy, but for Jamaica. Many of you may know that it is our 60th anniversary for Jamaica. So it's Grace Kennedy 100, Jamaica's 60th. And it shows, you know, that you can have a small country with an international company headquartered in downtown Kingston, Jamaica, with products all over the world.
We truly recognize that it's not just about us and that we have been blessed in many ways.
It's also a time for us to start really talking about shaping the future, making room and developing space for new leaders. There are generations yet unborn who are going to come and be a part of this legacy that we are developing here at Grace Kennedy. 100 years is not the end, it's the beginning of another 100 years.
And just being able to write down in my book that I was actually there when it happened. I will take that with me forever. You know, I was there when it happened.
Colleagues, as you have heard, this is an extremely celebratory year for the Grace Kennedy Group.
I want to take this opportunity to first say thanks to all of you for being a part of this incredible journey.
And we could not have done it without the efforts of all of you, present and past.
And so, team, as we start the celebrations for 100 years,
Remember that our core values of honesty, integrity, and trust will take us well beyond 100 years.
We are onto something great. We are building and leaving behind the company greater and better than we found it.
This Grace Kennedy story is about you. You are the ones who have made us who we are, and you are the ones who are going to take us into the future.
The greatest asset for the Grace Kennedy Group is not on the balance sheet. The greatest asset for Grace Kennedy is all of you who I'm speaking to.
I ask you to think just more broadly than where you are right now. Just think about how you can help this company on its journey to greatness and the next 100 years, and how in the process you can also get your own journey to greatness.
Keep being a team, keep being engaged, continue to be innovative.
We are always stronger together.
We look forward to an awesome year in 2022.
I feel so privileged, honored to be leading this company on this special occasion. And I want to say to you from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for your support, thank you for your commitment, and I'll say the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. GK team, an amazing team. Mr. Webby always says team means together. Everyone achieves more. But for a team to perform, it must have great leadership, right? And the GK executive team has done a fantastic job in steering this ship, led by its captain, Grace Kennedy Group CEO, Don Webby, who's been talking about GK100 for years. I can only imagine how he feels to know that the time is finally here. I'm not going to imagine, I'm going to ask him. He's going to join me right now. Let's welcome Grace Kennedy Group CEO, Don Webby.
Here I come with love and not hatred.
Hi, how are you?
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our life.
Little Dennis Brown, he's come with love and understanding. For the folks on the world who are outside of Jamaica, you're hearing a cultural icon in Dennis Brown. And
Here I come with a lot of love.
Love? You're leading a company of love, so.
Yes. Simone, I watched the videos for the first time while it was being shown, and I feel so blessed and proud of the executive team and how they delivered the message of GK100. I'm really blessed. I'm leading a great team. And that's why we have been so successful.
All right, we're gonna work on the mic a little bit. So while we do that, we're just gonna talk to Mr. Webby a little bit about where we are in this GK journey, where we are headed in this GK journey, and how we have gotten here. Don, you've been talking about this celebration for such a long time. It must feel good to be actually sitting in the moment.
Yes, and Simone, as I said, I feel blessed. You know, you did a timeline of GK some years ago at my request. And I saw the first meeting of the management team with Dr. John Grace, Mr. Kennedy, and James Masalomon as the first accountant for Grace Kennedy. And, you know, when you look forward from that day of 1922, February 14th, and so where we are now, in terms of a country that is a company that you know, we have revenues of almost $1 billion US. Our products being sold all over the world. You know, it's a remarkable achievement, and it's a compliment to all who came before us. And I think for Grace Kennedy, and I say it with a lot of confidence, the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really believe that.
You always talk about the opportunities in the crisis, right?
Yeah.
We would not have known that in the lead up to GK100, a pandemic would have been on the company.
Yeah.
And so to have gotten here and then to look back at the last 2 years and to see that it was the best performing years in the company, I mean, it must put this into even greater focus and context.
So historically, 2020 was by far the best year in Grace Kennedy's financial performance. I mean, our profits were up 50%, our share price was up 50-odd%. But as I said in the video presentation, when we met as a management team, we weren't thinking about profitability or revenue. The first thing that I said to my team is that the safety of our staff is priority one, even if it means a reduction in revenue and profits. And I think that was appreciated by all. And we meet every Monday morning to ensure that our staff, that they are safe, our employees, our team members. And I think that made a difference. That's why our employee engagement score is one of the highest in the world. So that was really a great feeling in terms of this difficult times that we're going through. The Grace Kennedy Group is still performing well. And it's all because of the commitment, the dedication, the loyalty of our team members. And I must say, they don't get enough recognition, I would think, but the board of directors, chaired by Professor God Shirley, is really a great board of directors. Very supportive, very demanding in terms of performance, but the support that they give me as the group CEO is really important and fantastic. And you know, it gives you strength, because leadership is a lonely position, So when you have a strong board behind it, it makes a big difference.
Yes, we know that the head that wears the crown is usually very heavy. But you speak
That's,
about
that's why my overheads are now.
Well, is that you speak about your team members, and in one of the videos you said employees in the front, profits will come.
Yes.
Which has borne out in the engagement survey
Absolutely.
results.
Absolutely.
But you measure the company in terms of like you said, not only profitability or profitability second, your team members first. But when you think of all your other stakeholder groups and the lives that Grace Kennedy has touched.
Unbelievable. But you know, that's my passion,
Yes.
the foundation. So let me share a brief story with you. So one of these, and I've said it quite a few times, one of these hard-hitting stockbrokers and investor analysts, you know, he says, Don, what do you want your legacy to be when you leave Grace Kennedy? And I thought about it, and I was going on the road of that I wanted $1 billion company and being a global consumer group and that sort of a thing. And I reflected very quickly, and I said, you know something? I want to leave Grace Kennedy and Jamaica in a better position than how I found it. And I said, I want to have 1,000 children, at that time it was 300 or 400, that could not otherwise afford an education for Grace Kennedy to be supporting them. And I got the news November 14th, 2021, because I'd set the time of 2022. I said, Mr. Webby, we're not 1,034.
Wow.
I mean, that was a great feeling.
Wow.
And you know, as I said before, you know, I'm big on education. My mother was a teacher for 40 years. Simone, when you go through that list of the children, when you see the 7 A's and the 6 A's, right? I mean, it's just a feeling of warmth and satisfaction. I may even say more than the revenue and profits. We are really assisting children that could not otherwise afford a good education, to give them an education. And that's what Grace Kennedy is about. We care. You spoke about Jimmy Masalama, who you know I'm very close to, is a family member. Jimmy was like the epitome of we care.
Yeah.
You know, that was his thing, you know. So when we would, when I would help somebody and and he found out, he would call and say, Don, thank you. You know, and that is in our DNA, you know, the we care, and that's why we're so successful.
Yeah.
We have a great management team. We're very focused in terms of strategy. Douglas Lorraine was the #1 at strategy, and of course I'm at his feet in terms of learning. But the real reason why we are here today celebrating 100 years is the core values that our founding fathers left with us. Honesty, integrity, and trust, and we care. It's about that list that you did, right? And it meant a lot to me when I was reviewing it. In 1951, Grace Kennedy was the first company in Jamaica and the Caribbean to establish health care for their staff, free health care. This is in 1951, a pension fund, superannuation fund. So that shows you from so long ago.
Trailblazing from back then.
Trailblazing from so far ago. But we care about our employees, we put them first.
For sure.
And that is why we are so successful.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because a part of these celebrations this year will be giving back not only to those who have supported the company, but you know, we talk at GK about word being bond and promises being kept. I hear there's a promise.
Our bond, yes.
Is there a promise on the horizon that?
Yes, Simone. So 2 years ago, I made a commitment, having gone through the listing, because Grace Kennedy also was one of the first companies that offered their employees shares, and it has been over the years, employees would have shares, and if you work hard, you get more shares. And I thought about why are we here, and you have heard my team about the employees and the team. And I said that I want every Grace Kennedy employee to be an owner of this great company. Even if it's 100 shares, even 1,000 shares, but I want our employees to stand proud and say, I own a piece of this great company. And I'm happy to announce, and I'll say more at the business conference, that Gail Solomon and Andrew Masado and others, they have worked hard on it, and I'm going to be announcing a share grant to all GK employees for February 14th, 2022. So I've kept my promise. Our word is our bond. But it makes a difference. It makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Where every Grace Kennedy employee, we're going to be owners of this great company. And the rewards are going to be rich in the future.
I know, there are a few of us in here, but I think that deserves a round of applause. My pen is gone. Folks on Zoom, it's a big deal. Mr. Webber sees Zoom wall, everybody clapping on the Zoom wall.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big
right,
deal.
so Mr. Webber, I want to thank you for your leadership. It's been a tough time. Leadership is tested at tough times, and you've always said that times are tough, but GK is tougher. Times are tough, but the GK team is tougher.
When there's an opportunity, Simone, you have worked with us so many years and you have worked closely with me. It's important that when you're a leader, you remain positive.
Yeah.
Because your staff and your team members and others, they feed off your own energy. But what a lot of people don't realize, and I said leadership is a lonely position, but I feed off of the energy of my staff.
Mm-hmm.
When I get the feedback of how we're doing and, and call and say thank you. That simple thank you from my team members at all levels. It means a lot to me. When you have a Miss Stella, a Miss Colette now, and Miss Bernice stand at the door and say, Mr. Webb, you're working too hard, come eat your lunch. And I don't leave that door until I stop. I mean, that means a lot to me.
That's part of the we care culture,
it shows
right?
that we care about me, and obviously I care about them more.
Yeah.
So that's very important, Simone. Very, very important. And I think Grace said it. When you're in a certain position, it's all about leading through people.
Yes.
You can be the smartest, you can be the brightest person ever, you can get all the A's from all the big universities. But if you don't have your team supporting you, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
No buy-in. No buy-in, you're going to
success.
be in trouble if you don't have alignment. And that's something that I've worked very hard on to ensure that I have the support of my team at all levels.
So we're going to head into the business conference in a couple of minutes. Before the folks who are on now, who won't be with us for that, leave us, we want you to just officially do what it is that we need you to do before we move on. So,
colleagues, friends, as we have been saying, that this is an extremely, extremely important milestone for GK. And, as I said, I just feel this warmth and I feel blessed that I'm the leader at this time. But we have had many before. And I just want to use this opportunity before I declare our 100th anniversary officially open. I want to recognize Dr. John Grace. Never met him, but he is the man that started this journey. Fred Kennedy, who actually passed away early, his great-granddaughter is working with us now and is actually the head of High-Low.
There she is on the Zoom. Hi, Kat.
Hi, Catherine. Hey, Catherine. I want to recognize James Solomon Sr., who I actually call Grandpa Moss. I've never met him, but I feel somehow some connection and so close to him, having heard all the stories about Grandpa Moss. And I've never heard anybody say anything negative about him. And I know that in his spirit that he's looking down and feeling proud about what is happening at Grace Kennedy. Louis Fred Kennedy, he was a character, very charismatic, Louis Fred Kennedy. Carlton Alexander, Carlton Alexander needs no introduction. I mean, he is Mr. Jamaica in terms of corporate. What is good for Jamaica?
Good for Grace Kennedy.
Good for Grace Kennedy. I always play that back in my mind. And you always hear the great stories about Carlton Alexander. And if you want to talk about somebody that is about relationship, that is Carlton Alexander. Let me tell you something. You have a second and third generation. And when I'm out there in the trade, because I go to visit supermarkets, the founders of those supermarkets, grandchildren, they have heard all about Carlton Alexander and coming to play mahjong, and that's he was superb at that. Raf Diaz, he's a quiet giant. He's one of the best accountants that I've met. He's still around at 91. I spoke to him last week, sounding very strong. Mr. Diaz would send me emails about the new technology that is being used at 91. He's a remarkable human being. And he really started the journey of transforming Grace Kennedy into what we know as a professional company with governance. And of course, Douglas O'Rain, who is my mentor, my friend, and we tease each other that we're a brother that we never have, because he didn't have a brother, I didn't have a brother, so we call us brothers. He is probably one of the greatest strategic thinkers that I know. And, you know, when I say that I'm blessed, I've worked with Peter Solomon, Raf Diaz, Douglas, Jimmy, and a number of great Erwin Burt. I mean, Faye McIntosh. I could go on and on and on. And one of the things that I'm hoping that I would have an impact on the next generation of Grace Kennedy team members that they had on me, because it really made me in terms of who I am. And I want to use this opportunity. I haven't not met a lot of them, but from Dr. John Grace to Douglas, I want to say thank you. I know John Grace, I know Jimmy Solomon, Junior and Senior, Peter Masson, they're saying,
well done.
Well done. Thank you, Grace Kennedy. And I'm sure they're all proud of us. And I want to say thank you again.
Yes.
As I would always say from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, of course, of course.
So
to you now.
I'm now pleased to declare our GK100 anniversary celebration officially launched.
Officially launched. Let's sound the fire. Yes.
Hey.
Excellent.
It's the world. It's the world.
Excellent.
What a production.
I'm telling you.
Whoa.
Yes. Fantastic.
So we are coming with a force. Yeah. Blessings we are reaping, we coursing on full.
All right.
Boy,
we say celebration. Eh? Course bags forever.
That was a bit surprising.
Didn't see it coming, did you?
Disney World.
Yes, Disney World, here we come. Thank you, Mr. Webby, GK100.
Thanks for that, guys.
What a great opportunity to say thank you to those who've...
Let me just also use
yes.
this opportunity, Simone, to thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're a natural at this.
Oh, thank you.
I'm waiting for my invitation to Simsoul, by the way.
Oh.
Suzanne, Gail, and the team who put this together, they have been working some long and hard hours.
Yes, it's not easy.
It's not easy. There's a lot coming at us, and they have been doing a good job. So Simone, Suzanne, thank you very much. Gailos, thank you very much. And as I said, let me leave you with these words here. The best is yet to come for this great country.
I believe
great
it.
company. I'm excited.
I believe it. I believe it. Thank you very much, Don. Camille, I know you're watching. Please diarize that. He said it on camera. Same soul. We'll discuss today.
Once you don't make me cry.
Once I don't make you cry.
I know I used to cry.
Oops, I can't promise that. All right, folks. At this juncture, we want to say thank you to the team members who joined from around the world for this launch part of our event. We're grateful to each and every one of you for your contribution along GK's journey. Please take good care. Please stay safe. We're still in a pandemic. And before we say goodbye to you for today, I'm going to invite you to stay with us just a wee bit longer as we take a few minutes to celebrate the life of our beloved Jimmy Solomon. Run it, guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jimmy, you live life to the fullest as such a kind, caring person, dedicated to helping others, particularly the less fortunate. You are a man of action, immersing yourself with gusto in whatever would help to make the lives of others better. In your over 30 years of service with Grace Kennedy, you are in the midst of the massive transformations with us working together that now make the group what it is today, while always emphasizing Grace we care. I admired your gifts as a true Renaissance man, playing keyboards, singing for 50-50 band. You shared with me how music calmed your soul, and of course, that mischievous smile, the twinkle in your eyes, and that full-bodied laugh that disarmed all before you. Thank you for your lasting example to us, to do good and to do so courageously.
For people like you.
We have worked together for 40 years, touching the lives of many families. Now the Lord has spent all those years writing Mr. Moss's story and decided to end with a full stop, not a pause, which means he has completed his journey and fulfilled his purpose.
Jimmy Solomon was a great person, someone I've known from childhood. Jimmy was a sportsman, a musician, a businessman, a visionary, and a natural leader. But if there's one characteristic that I think really made Jimmy unique, is the fact that he truly cared. And I am thankful that I had the opportunity to know him and to know someone who truly embodied the Grace Kennedy spirit, we care.
His biggest passion was to give back, and the children of Central Kingston benefited immensely from his generosity. Jimmy also was instrumental in the Sir John Golden Rehab Center, having taken care directly of the Athlone wing to ensure that the wards who were wheelchair bound had an excellent quality of life.
With his affable personality and ready smile, Jimmy Moss was someone you could never forget. However, it went deeper than that at Grace Kennedy. To describe his relationship with the staff, he had time for all employees, regardless of whatever level they were in the organization, and made the time to listen to and hear their story. As a result, he was loved by all. Jimmy Moss, you've run a good race and left an indelible footprint on the lives of many. Rest now in peace, dear colleague and friend.
There's so many things I could say, but two things stand out for me. The support he provided for me when I was losing my sight and adjusting to my new reality. You know, he provided so much encouragement. And secondly, his support of my career development in the company. Mr. Moss believed in me. He saw beyond my disability and saw my abilities. He helped me to improve my vision at a time when I was losing my sight. He will surely be missed.
My fondest memory of Mr. Moss, and I think the incident that really bonded me to him was 2007, when he informed me as part of Grace Kennedy anniversary celebrations that I needed to do an interview with the Breakfast Club. I promptly, shy and nervous me, refused and told him I'd asked the marketing manager to do the interview, to which Mr. Moss replied, "This is general manager work. You need to pull up your big girl pants and come and do the interview." But then he softened it with, "I'll be there with you." And he was. He stayed in the room the entire time.
He really impacted my life significantly in 2007 when I took on my first CEO role. He had very deep and meaningful conversations with me and sharing some of my fears, my misgivings about taking on such a role. He then volunteered himself to assist me. And we would have these interesting sessions. He shared with me the principle of 6 degrees of separation. And as I was leading a brokerage, I needed to meet a lot of people. He would say, "Grace, use that principle and you can meet anyone you want to meet." And he proved it so many times. And when I'm sitting at in the boardroom at Allied and talking to these people, I'd always kind of remember what he said, 6 degrees of separation. And I just really want to say I appreciate all that you did, and walk good.
I looked forward to his almost daily calls, I would say, and we all had a special nickname. And he was just a visionary. We'd have so many conversations about what he thought should be done, and we had this running joke that he was always 8 years ahead of everyone else. I'm gonna miss him a lot. He was a very, very special person.
He was the one and only Grandpa Jimmy to my 3 girls, who brought him so much joy, and the feeling was absolutely mutual. Jimmy was a lover of people and a lover of life, and he was committed to making people's lives better, and he absolutely did. And as our family receives all these amazing tributes about our Grandpa Jimmy from political and business leaders in Jamaica and across the region, as well as very touching personal notes from the many persons he had reached out to and impacted in an extraordinary way. I can truly say that this giant of a man, who was in so many ways larger than life, truly walked with kings, but he never lost the common touch.
Jimmy, as he was affectionately known, was not only a dear and beloved member of the GK family, but he was also my uncle, friend, and mentor. His commitment to Jamaica and advocacy for its citizens was exceptional. He served his country and fellow Jamaicans with love and generosity. My deepest sympathies to all who loved and knew him. Our GK family mourns this immense loss. His legacy will live on through Grace Kennedy, and especially through the work of the foundation, which he was so passionate about. His impact will continue to be felt for the decades to come in Jamaica and throughout the region. The world has lost a brilliant and incredible man and a vibrant soul. May his soul rest in peace.
Out of many, one people we are.
Yes. So we're on break now.
Your